Three, two, one, go.
Hello, hello. This is Ignacy Trzewiczek from Portal Games.
And Corey Thompson from Dice Tower Dish, Nerd About Podcast, and Aboveboard TV.
And this is Stephen Bonacore, the Podfather of gaming. You are listening to Board Games Insider, episode 344, and we are recording it on November 21st, 2024. Board Games Insider is proud to be powered by Board Game Geek. And speaking of that, we were at Board Game Geek Con, BGG.con last week. Well, two of the three of us were there. Ignacy,
Yes, two of us.
so many people asked about you, and I'm not kidding about this, man.
It's true. It's true. So many people walking by going, "Oh, it's board gaming." Oh,
Almost. They want
oh,
they want
where's
you.
Ignacy?
Once again, first of all, super kind. I appreciate it. It's very nice that people remember about me. It was super dumb decision to not go
I know.
anywhere this year. And next year I'm coming back to the convention season, so I miss you too and all our industry friends as well.
Meanwhile, tell us what's happening and why you're so busy and you can't make it over at Portal Games.
Yeah, for all of you who are watching at Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel, you can see that my camera is showing something super weird stuff because after we stop recording, I'm doing a charity role-playing game session. There was
Nice.
a
How
charity,
cool.
and the winners will come to my office in 1 hour, and we will play Cold City for charity. So this was happening right now. In general, at Portal Games company, we finished our releases. We released everything that we planned for this year. So two expansions for Thorgal, before the Thorgal, before Resurgence, before AI Space Puzzle. The whole catalog is ready. I hope many of our listeners picked one or two games from Portal Games Company and added them to the collection. And we at the company, of course, are preparing for the next year, for the PortalCon, for the announcements, for the new things. Just today, I had two playtesting sessions of two different games that we are working on for the next years. So very busy, very happy. And besides playtesting games, nothing very important. It's a little bit slower. I have to admit that when there is a convention season, S and Gen Con, all this crazy stuff. But now this past weekend I was at the last convention of the season in Gdańsk. Amazing convention, 8,000 people, one of the biggest conventions in Poland.
Wow.
I ran 9 hours of seminars because I'm crazy and I love to talk in Polish. Mm, and now just chilling out and preparing for the next year. So, message from Ignacy is super simple. Please go visit portalgamesus.com, check which Portal games you don't have yet in the collection, make yourself a Christmas gift, make some influx of cash to Portal Games Company, and have a great Christmas. That is my
Yeah.
message.
It's a good message. It's a good
Oh,
message.
that's super awesome, man. Well, things have been crazy over here. I've been traveling like Steven just said.
Like every month and like every week, just traveling,
I
like nothing new.
know.
And never day in the office.
BGG BGG was amazing. It's one of my very favorites. It was so nice just seeing all the friends in the industry and the love, the outpouring that we had for Insider was fantastic. So many people came up and said hello, and it was really great. But no, as far as above board, no sooner had we dropped the bee video where we played apiary totally covered with honeybees, which got great response. Thank you to Stonemeyer. But now we are starting to drop our Thunder Road videos. So Leaf, our co-host, went to Wasteland Weekend, which is basically Burning Man cosplay Mad Max in the middle of the desert, where you're encouraged to drive in insanely dangerous vehicles and fight each other and get really dirty. No electricity allowed in the main camp, has to be complete immersion in the desert. And we've started posting our videos. Leaf and Brett built a car before Wasteland. And by the way, spoiler, they won Best in Show with their car. There's going to be 4 build videos
They
about the
had
car, and there's going to be a playthrough of
they
Thunder
had
Road
somebody's
Vendetta.
money to use to build that car, I bet.
What it really was is Leaf grew up in this tiny little town in South Dakota, and Leaf's father has a shop and a junkyard. So Leaf just does this. He's so good. Um, and then getting ready for the next convention, I will be heading to PAX. So hopefully seeing tons of people in PAX in, wow, it's going to be like 2 weeks. I will be a little late at PAX, so I'm not arriving till Saturday because I need to film some things for Above Board
You're not
on
you're
Friday.
not arriving until Saturday and then leaving on, well, Monday, I guess. 2 days. Oh, so sad.
Saturday morning, I'll be arriving. I'm taking the red eye because I'm filming on Friday.
All right, all right. What are you filming?
Oh, secret stuff.
All
But
right, secret.
I mean, I'm in it, so it's likely going to be a return of some character of mine.
Oh, Return of Carl. There you go. Carl, Santa's bad brother.
No comment.
All right. Well, over here at the Podfather of Gaming, I had mentioned on the last episode that I'll be down at Dice Tower headquarters the week of December 12th through, I'm sorry, December 10th through 12th. For, I guess it's actually, I'll be there for 3 days ish, 3 nights, certainly in the Miami Homestead area. And I'm going to be there on behalf of the World Series of Board Gaming. Myself, John Hagmeyer, who is the executive chairman of the World Series of Board Gaming, and two of the ring winners from the World Series will be there. They'll be playing games, and that's what most of this is about. They'll be playing games against the Dice Tower crew. So check that out. Of course, I'll be on camera talking about the World Series and giving you the best possible discount that you can get if you want to come to the World Series. We'll be talking about it there. I'll let you know now. The discount's called Early Bird. Use that discount code now or watch and see more about what the World Series of Board Game is about. Dice Tower YouTube channel from December 10th through 12th, and I'll talk about it next time so it's fresh in your mind. Meanwhile, as we've been talking about, BGG Con was amazing. It is now over, and I get a little time to chill out before more travel. The takeaways there from the fans and the interesting stuff. Ignacy was missed. I spoke to Gary Hassani, who's just a fan of the show. It's a lovely conversation I had with him. Richard Bolsky, another lovely guy, and he just wanted to thank us for doing the work that we do. Thank you, both Gary and Richard. And very interesting anecdote here. Two people recognized Paula without knowing Paula. One recognized the Podfather shirt she had, which says, "The Podfather sends his regards," and then said, "You're Paula, right?" And yes, yes, that was great. And the second one, after Paula happened to said, "My boyfriend Steven, who's the busiest retired guy on the planet," the guy turned around and said, "Oh, you're the Paula." So both of those things happened to Paula, and she's enjoying getting the little bit of adjacency to me when she gets recognized. After we're going to be here for Thanksgiving, host a Friendsgiving here with some local friends who are not leaving to go see family, which is going to be fun at my house. Paula's cooking; it's going to be fun, and then I'll see hopefully many of you out there and Kory for a couple of days at PAX Unplugged. Definitely one of my favorites as well. That Philadelphia area is so much fun. There's so much great food there. With any luck, it won't snow and it won't be too cold, which over the last few years, it's been great actually at that time of year. And then I'm coming back, and then I'm going to go to Christmas in New Jersey with my family. The last thing I want to mention is Tales of the Arabian Nights, 40th anniversary edition, coming from Play 2 Z. So this is a game that's been out of print now for a number of years. Play 2 Z, right? Went back. Zev went to the designer. He got the rights. We're making some good updates to the game. You'll get a blown out version if you back it on GameFound. We've already got 2,500, and that's as of today, We're not even
Wow.
close to starting. 2,500 followers for the Game Found, with doing no advertising. So this game is going to be a big one. I highly recommend just go follow the Game Found campaign, and see how it looks. If you like it, this is one of my favorite games around. It's a storytelling paragraph game where you make decisions and then you read the paragraph and it tells you what happens. Love it. It kind of set a standard in the genre. Tales of the Arabian Nights 40th Anniversary Edition. Go follow it right now on GameFound and check it out. In the meantime, we have a lot of news stories, so let's get to the event deck. All right, guys. We have two big Asmodee stories, or Asmodee related and direct Asmodee. The first one is that the Embracer Group, parent company of Asmodee, is investing. They've taken in so much cash due to certain sales and divestitures that they've been making,
Mm-hmm.
that they're giving Asmodee 400 million euros. I mean, it's weird to say it this way, but they're putting that as part of the Asmodee division to then be able to pay down some of the debt that they have put into that subsidiary. So this article came on ICV2. We'll mention them first, but it also I get the press releases directly from Embracer Group. So I had a lot of information there, but this will boil it down to just what we need to know here. The Embracer Group is planning to invest 400 million euro, which is around $424 million in cash in its Asmodee Group subsidiary before spinning it off early next year, the company announced. Asmodee will use 316 million of the new cash to pay down debt and the remaining 108 million to resume acquisitions and strengthen the balance sheet. So reminder to everybody, Embracer Group, which is a publicly traded company, announced earlier this year that they are breaking themselves into three separate publicly traded companies. One of them is their electronics gaming company. One of them is the Middle Earth Enterprises company. And then the final one is Asmodee, the one that we care about kind of the most. So gentlemen, this is good news for Asmodee and has that implication of more acquisitions.
Yes,
Comments?
yes, yes. Well, of course, we need to remind people that Embracer Group has this debt because essentially they purchased Middle Earth with money that was promised from another company, a Saudi tech company, and that then never delivered the money that was promised. It was speculation.
Exactly.
And Embracer Group has said that the entirety of that debt, the entirety of the debt will be put on Asmodee once the breakup into three happens.
Right. And in a related story,
There is this additional, if I may, there's this additional press release that Board Game Insider funds provide Portal Games with $100,000 infusion by buying at portalgamesus.com. And I am not in debt, and I am not planning acquisition, but Portal Games fans and Board Game Insider fans can help me, like Asmodee has this help from Embracer.
That's right. Go to portalgamesus.com and check
Yes.
out the sales and things like that for Black Friday, which is coming up soon. But the related story here, and it was implied in the original story, is that there was a very long video that they did for all the Asmodee employees, for external people, regarding what's going to be happening within Embracer, but specifically also at Asmodee. And that's the part that we care about the most. Acquisitions are back at Asmodee as board game giant eyes more than 20 buyout targets. And this is on Board Game Wire, who was nice enough to actually watch the 4-hour video that I did not watch, though I looked at the summary of the video. They are now, so the new CEO, Thomas Kogler, said that the company has a pipeline of more than 20 acquisition opportunities, mirroring the heavy expansion the business undertook after being bought by private equity firm Eurazeo in 2014. Asmodee's previous buying spree saw it acquire more than 40 companies and IPs over the last decade, including over 20 game studios, including Days of Wonder, Fantasy Flight, Lookout Games, Catan Studios, and Z-Man Games. So, guys, I got to stress a point here. I have it on good authority that literally right before that deal went south, that Saudi $2 billion infusion of capital was coming in. They had lined up acquisitions.
Yes.
When that deal did not happen, they first went silent to certain acquisition targets. They just didn't talk. But then when they started talking to them again, they said, Asmodee has been instructed, we have to stop. We can't buy more. We can't acquire you. So I have a strong feeling that we're going to see some major acquisition targets in the very
Certainly,
near
if they
future.
pick up the acquisitions that were halfway or 95% done when everything with Savvy, the Saudi group, went south.
Yeah, exactly. This is going to be a developing story. We're going to hear a lot more, I think, about this as we move forward into 2025. I would not anticipate hearing too much until 2025 on this one. Early.
I have a first-hand information that Asmodee have not reached Portal Games. So if
Yes.
Board Game
They
Insider fans wants to
they
infuse
have
some money,
actually reached out to Board Game Insider. I
Yeah.
took the call personally. I will be acquired. Um,
You personally, they're
me
requiring Corey
personally, yeah.
Thompson for some reason.
Yes. I think that
so
would be a
I,
very good move on their part.
I think we should. I think we should spread the rumor that maybe Board Games Insider is an acquisition target to be Asmodee's media arm. I love this idea.
Oh, that's so
I mean,
good.
it's only like they could buy us for only 100 million or so, right?
But
I mean, that
there's
would.
precedent that I can be bought with candy.
yeah. And if you want to follow the story, visit shop at portalgames.pl. We have a blog and we report on things over there.
I love you guys.
So,
I love you guys. Corey, take us to something serious here. But this is a really big story. The next one too.
our next story is that Sony is in
Sony.
talks to buy Kadokawa. And this is really interesting because Kadokawa uh, is a really big conglomerate company. And we had previously reported that Kadokawa was purchasing Arclight, which was the owner of the Tokyo Game Market. Kadokawa also, and this is going to be the bigger side of the story, not really in our world, but the bigger side is that Kadokawa is the parent company of FromSoft. FromSoft, of course, does video games Elden Ring and Dark Souls, which are huge IP properties. And so Sony is in talks to acquire this software, but Arclight is also huge within the board games market. So this is all the early stages, so we'll see what happens here. So it was 6 months ago that Kadokawa bought Arclight, so they have interest in the gaming market scene. But Kadokawa is also in Japan a huge board game publisher.
So yeah, Arclight is big. Arclight is really big. They are a publisher, distributor. They do all kinds of work in hobby, in tabletop gaming, in Japan, and generally, I believe, across the Asian market. I can't tell you how much I love the fact that a company like Sony is buying a bigger company. It's 2.7 billion US dollar acquisition of Kadokawa,
Yeah.
with obviously a much smaller part of it being Arclight Games. It would be great to see them continue owning it, but I'm gonna make a prediction here, which I won't use, I guess, at the end of the year in our prediction show, that they will divest. Maybe I should use it. They'll probably divest Arclight Games in the end, because I don't think Sony would want to be in this market, but I wish they stayed in this market.
Well, I think there's no secret that Sony is purchasing this in order to get the FromSoft
Sure.
titles.
Yeah, Ignacy, have you dealt with Arclight to license their games in for Polish? Because we have.
I believe they do my games in Japan.
Okay. Yeah,
It's
so
I think they did Imperial Settlers and I think they did Robinson Crusoe. And if I'm mistaken, I'm very sorry, but I believe
yeah.
they did my games in
Yeah.
Japan.
Every year at
Yeah.
Essen, I would meet with Taksan, who was the representative of Arclight. Really great guy, and he would give me all kinds of games, and then we would test them all, and we would, consider doing them for the English language market. And they're a really good company. I mean, they represent many, many,
Yeah.
many designers and things like that. So very
I
Well,
cool.
they
think that
also run a lot of hobby stores. So they run 32 hobby station trading card retail stores in Japan, started in 2003.
Yeah. So that's great to
as
hear.
yeah, just one follow-up because we mentioned that Arclight is doing in Japan Imperial Settlers or Robinson Crusoe. You can learn more about these games at shopportalgames.com to know what these games are
It's shopportal.asmodee.com, isn't it?
next year.
Next year. Oh, sorry. Jump the gun. Jump the gun.
All right, so we have another interesting story regarding the Zenobia Awards. We reported on the nominees recently, but now we have the winners. And Kory, it's what is it?
Yeah, so the winner of the Zenobia Award is The Porters, which is a board game exploring the struggle of early 20th century Black Canadian railway workers to overcome racism and organize unions. So the Zenobia Awards were created in 2020 to highlight games from women, people of color, and LGBTQ communities, which explore hitherto overlooked or ignored areas of human history covering political, social, cultural, scientific, economic, or military affairs. Uh, so the inaugural 2021 award was won by designer Akar Barajavad, which did a coin series game that was about the caste system in India, Tyranny of Blood. So Zenobia is a really important award in both social and board gaming things, and a lot of the nominees of the Zenobia Awards have gone on to be published games, most notably Molly House, which was published by the Whirlies. So
Very,
really
very
good
interesting.
games.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good award to follow because it's obviously in a market that is underserved, and it's wonderful to keep mentioning them and talk about them and the games that are coming through this award. So, because bad news comes in threes, I guess, we have to announce another passing. So, 2 episodes ago, we announced Amber Cook's passing. We announced Greg Hildebrandt's passing, and now we have the passing of designer Kory Heath. Um, Very sad.
Yeah.
The news hasn't been picked up by the major wires, but it's been on Facebook and the blog of Andrew Looney from Looney Labs. He brought it to everyone's attention in a very, very nice way. And he says, "Goodbye, Kory. Bad news comes in waves. Just a few days after the memorial gathering for Amber Cook, we lost an even closer friend, Kory Heath. Kory was a brilliant game designer, a good friend, and a hilarious guy. I feel very lucky to have known him for 25 years. Recently, by the way, he's the designer of one of my favorite new games, The Gang. So, very sad to hear this.
Incredibly smart guy. His big hit was Zendo, which is such a clever
Yep.
board game that was published with Looney Labs. Um, Kory Heath, brilliant game designer.
Yeah, another shame. Now, in the meantime, we must go to strategy and tactics. So I'd like to make a note before we start taking the questions here from the guild. We have less than 1 page of questions left in our guild, and we're not planning on running a contest anytime soon, everybody. So please, if you like us talking about questions, and I think you do. I mean, this is kind of the great interactive way we can spend with you. Please post some questions in the guild, or maybe, or we have to shut down the segment. Just do it once in a while when we get 1 or 2 questions. So please go there. You know how to do it. Go over to our strategy and tactics thread and post there. We have one. That means we have like 25 questions left. So it'll get answered very quickly if you put it there. All right. So our good friend Vincenzo Alvarello, Zacco Soldier, he says, inspired by a recent Saturday Night Live sketch, what would be your best and worst game to Jumanji you? What game will you never play if you could what game will you never play if you could be Jumanji'd?
Wow.
So does everybody understand? So let's explain this. So on Saturday Night Live, there was a skit where they were playing Ticket to Ride
Yeah.
and Ticket to Ride, right? Biggest one of the top three games in our industry. And all of a sudden, they were saying, I can't play board games because I might be Jumanji, meaning I might be sucked into the board game. Uh, for no good reason, they were saying, and they just kept using Jumanji. And finally, guess what? They were sucked into the game because a train showed up with a conductor it's a very silly sketch. You can go Google it. What game what would be your best and worst game to Jumanji you, guys?
I would
I mean,
definitely not. If I may, I think we got similar question in the past, but from top of my head, first Martians, not good idea to end up on Mars with everything being broken and destroyed and all these alarms, you know. And in general, games are always about some monsters killing you and you're trying to escape. Robinson Crusoe, Pandemic, like all these games are not super cool to be there. Like Nemesis, like we game designers like to put heroes in a bad situation. So for most of the board games, I would not like to be Jumanji. But if I may, maybe some Star Wars game to just have this fun with Mandalorian or Star Wars Outream. Maybe that. But basically, I prefer being with my cup of tea and my book at my home. I don't even go to conventions, not to mention being Jumanji to some stupid board game world.
You know, it's even funnier when you say Jumanji with the Polish accent than when we say it.
so
That's
you're
awesome.
saying you'd like to be sucked into the game like Chai
Chai.
or Chai Garum
Now you're talking.
or Tea
Yep.
Dragons.
Kory, what would be your best and worst game to be Jumanji'd into?
I mean, Ignacy pretty much hit it on the head. There's so many games that if you get sucked into there, you're just dead. So, Village, the main mechanic is killing off your people. Not my thing. I'd rather not. I think top ones, Tokaido. By the way, recently Tokaido was acquired by Stonemaier Games, so it's back on the market, and it's just a beautiful, low-key game about wandering through Japan and seeing the sights and eating the food and buying the souvenirs. So relaxing. But like the new one I just got in the mail, Fromage. I mean, come on. A game just about making and eating cheese. I'm there. I want that. Viticulture. That's not a terrible one.
So for me, I'll try not to mention War of the Ring, which is sitting right over there, right? I certainly would be Jumanji'd into that in a
You'd
heartbeat.
be dead. You'd just be killed.
Why would I be killed? I could easily be an elvish prince because of
I heard you
my
recently played
beautiful blonde
with
hair.
Candace. How'd it go with Candace?
I lost to Candace because I was a very gentle
Dead.
teacher.
Dead.
I lost two games of
Dead.
War of the Ring at BGG Con. So I'm gonna pick Terraforming Mars to be the one I would absolutely, preferably in like the 8th to 10th generation of the game, not like, in the beginning where you're struggling to do things, but later in the game where, things are going well. We've terraformed the planet kind of thing. That would definitely be there because I really would love to go to Mars. I probably won't get there. And the least favorite game would absolutely be a game that contains spiders. So that would be like, what was that one? That very heavy Euro game that had spiders in it. I just can't remember it right now. Was it? Oh, it's just escaping. Any game that has spiders in it, I
I'm
don't want to
thinking
be.
Fireball Island with the jumping spiders.
Too cartoony. That probably would be fine because it's cartoony. You got to be in it as a cartoon then. Anyway, there's a species, something species. That was it. No. I just can't remember it. Anyway,
I
that's the
don't know.
one. That's the one.
Oh, dominant species?
Dominant species. I believe one of the species
So,
is
Yep,
spiders.
arachnids was one of
so
them.
if there is a situation that we are both on the plane and there's a spider on the plane, we are together terrified.
Oh, we would be completely terrified. You
Oh,
know,
that would be so fun.
it's got
Steven
to
and Ignacio just
good to know
because
that
they're
I'm not the
afraid of
I'll,
only.
spiders.
I'll take it's okay. I'll take it.
Well,
It'll be fun.
this guy used to like. I think he used to give spiders injections or something like that. He's a doctor
I
of.
I have worked on unnamed species.
I don't want to even talk. Chris Stone. He's at Chris Stone. He's he's replying here to something. He just says guillotine. All right. No, Chris, you got to put it in the
This is
right.
like the third time guillotines come up, which I think is fantastic. Old classic game.
It's a great game.
He
Kevin.
just said he doesn't want to be Jumanji in guillotine.
Oh, I guess that's the one. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. He was replying to that one. All right. With that, Chris, don't put it. Never mind. Chris, I'm sorry, Kevin Wardener. He's at He's Jercules. In the formation of Play to Z games, did Zev require the letter Z appear in the name? And then he points out,
It's a company. It's a rider.
it,
This separated colors of M&Ms. Company must have a Z.
yes, in his employment contract, it said company must be. So when he founded Play to Z Games, I'm sorry, he founded Z-Man Games. Obvious. He moved to WiZkids, and he co-founded Play to Z. So the actual answer is the the company. The company name is actually not Play to Z. There's a little bit of a fun fact. The company name is actually Fusion with a Z. Okay, it still has a Z. But then we played around and we said, you know what? Let's make it really light and fluffy. Play to Z. No, obviously there's no reason, but it was like, you know what? Zev is that guy that
How could
can
he not?
when you have an easy way of doing it, fusion with a Z or play to Z. He is a guy that not only everybody knows, I mean, he's not out there as much as well, like Kory and me. I'll say on some level, he doesn't like meet fans and stuff like that as much, but everybody knows him. So if we're gonna point things out to him, point things out to people out there, using a Z in the title just made sense. All right. Let's get to Hanorama. He's Hanorama. He's a good friend. Uh, Chris Hahn. Why does the new logo look like a profile of Tom Vassell in a trench coat? Our logo, the BGI logo. Do you think that's the case? I don't know. No,
Maybe. I think it's the hat.
it's the hat. Another little anecdote. Ignacy didn't like the logo, but like we just had to move on. We needed the logo, so we just moved on when we changed from being on Dice Tower Network to being on the Board Game Geek Network. Paul Owen, he's at PD Owen 3. Any idea what the numbers are on how many new publishers become profitable versus how many fold in the first, say, 3 to 5 years?
Hmm.
No. The answer is there's no real way to know that.
It's
Um,
our industry's so strange. It's really difficult to define what a new publisher is because there's so many people who self-publish, make a company
yeah,
name, do a Kickstarted board game. Are they a new publisher? It's hard to say. But I think the take home here is 3 to 5 years. That's about the amount of time to become profitable anyway. Um, Companies can take a while doing this. There's so many costs and investments over that period of time. It's a little bit hand to mouth in the beginning.
you made two good points there. First of all, that a lot of companies aren't companies per se. Like they just want to do a game, so they put it out on crowdfunding. They do the game, and they don't have grandiose plans of being a big publisher. They might then do a game a year or two from then or something like that. Or they're just like, hey, I want my game out there. Here's my game. And the other thing is,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Let me throw out there my favorite name of a company publisher. Of course, I can't say Play to Z. I'm involved in that, so that can't be in the running. But How to Steam Broccoli. Such a good company name. And that is the publisher of the board game Tether. And it's one of these companies that has one game they design, they put on crowdfunding, they publish it. Um,
How to Steam Broccoli is the name of
that's the
the
name of the
company.
company. Yep.
Wow. All right. Well,
Because you can't do it too much and you can't do it too little. It's got to be just right. And that's their philosophy for their for their company.
I roast my broccoli always, just about always. I roast it with
Also very tasty.
garlic, salt, pepper, roasted oil, olive oil, non-virgin, non-extra virgin olive oil. Perfect.
Our listener is so happy with our answer about this business question that he learned how to do broccoli.
Broccoli. And I keep going with these.
We used to be a business podcast, but now like what the hell?
This is important. This is business. We're
I keep-
discussing names of companies. It's
I
come
keep-
up twice.
I keep coming with these stupid facts that just, for whatever reason, keep entering my head. Maybe I have too much coffee today. Two things. Number one, broccoli is right up there as one of my favorite vegetables. And number two,
Very good.
broccoli was was the least favorite vegetable of President George Bush, the number one, George
Yep.
H.W. Bush,
Yep.
back in the 80s. And he it literally, broccoli sales crashed after he said, "I hate broccoli." It came back, of course, but it was.
By the way, broccoli is genetically identical to cabbage.
I
Cabbage
think that
or cauliflower?
our listeners need to
That also.
rethink their question.
And
And,
Romanesco and Brussels sprouts.
Oh my God.
The next time you put a question in the Board Game Geek, try to figure out what may came out of the answer.
This is a great episode. Anyway, everybody, let's get over to play testing. Kory, last week, as you will now for a while, because you put all these questions out there, what was the question that you asked everybody?
So, my question last week was, what board or card game is always in your travel bag just for emergencies? This is your go-to game. And I thought this was great. We got so many really interesting answers on this one.
Yeah, so I'll put a couple out here. So Adrian Patterson, he says, or she says, Flory Furious, such a cool game, looks stunning on the table and always gets people
Floriferous.
coming. Floriferous. I know the name, but I can't think of what this game looks like. It's not just a
It's
card
from
game.
Pencil First, and it's got like all sorts of neat drawings on there.
Oh, okay. Well, that's one that's outside the box, I think, on some level. Any other ones that are striking you?
I was really interested in that there wasn't a big dominant game that showed up. There was so much variety, and a lot of these games I didn't know well. So I'm really interested in them. I did see a lot of representation from Button Shy. Button Shy does the little wallet games that
Yep.
are often the solo games. So Kirk W., friend of the show, has Sprawlopolis, Agropolis, and Naturopolis, which are themed versions of a similar game. All
Right.
nicely tucked in the Quitted Games magnet box. It's my everyday shoulder bag, along with whatever I'm currently using and a few other essentials. As for multiplayer travel games, I'm sure I have one, but my newest acquisition, Luz, is a strong candidate. Luz, fantastic game, very similar to Xylotar, except it came out like 5 years earlier.
Oh, interesting. Anything, Ignacy, that you saw that you liked?
No, I agree with the part of the question that says that apps, board game, but apps. Like you don't want to put more stuff into your luggage when you are traveling. You want to go light, and you always have your phone with you, so you can play any games. These days, there's so many games on the apps. Imperial Miners app just debuted last week on
Excellent.
Android and iOS. So yeah, I play Neuroshima Hex or other games on my phone, and I don't have any cardboard in my luggage when I travel.
Interesting. I'm going to point out the ones that I like because they're different and I don't even know them. I'm going to go look them up. Al Mad says
Oh.
Black Sonata and Maki.
Black Sonata and Maki. Black Sonata is so good. It is a solo hidden movement game, hidden trader. So process that.
Solo hidden movement game?
Yes.
Okay.
Picture Spectre Ops or
Okay.
Fury Dracula, but
Right.
it's solo.
So the game is moving somehow. That's pretty cool. I
It's
want,
so cool.
since that's one of my favorite mechanics, I absolutely will look that up. That's Black Sonata, you said, okay?
Black
All right.
Sonata.
Very good. Don't take one more here. Somebody doesn't have a name, but they have a tag. Maisum Gustavo. He or she says Kariba or How Dare You? Simple and amazing games.
You would
Very cool.
love Kariba. I
Really?
believe it's a Reiner Knizia game. I've played it a few times. It
Thank you
is
for
so good.
thank you for introducing me to these games. You know them all, but you're not telling me about them.
What? I can't tell you about every game. You're supposed to know about these things.
Oh, okay. So so Corey, what question did you give us for this week coming up?
All right. The next absolutely brilliant question, because I write the questions because Steven doesn't. Uh, what are the best games for playing outdoors? We've all been at some sort of outdoor event, camping, visiting, something like this. Now, we're talking about hobby board games, our little niche of the industry. So it's cheating a little bit if you say cornhole, lawn darts, something like that.
Right.
So, hobby board game, what is your pick for playing outdoors?
Ignacy, do you have one or you stay indoors all the time?
I stay indoors, but if I'm forced to go outside, we used to play a lot of game called Set. This is a German game.
Yes.
I know
Very
set.
good. You just set up 12 cards and you can play it on the beach, whatever you want.
I
So I
love it.
played a lot of that. I played a lot of Hive because it has these very
Hive, yep.
heavy pieces. And I played a
Yep.
lot of Werewolves, Mafia, Avalon type games, big group, and you can just play. So this is my types
Yep.
from my game experience. But I agree that tea, cookies, home, not outside.
So mine was going to be without a doubt Werewolf. I played on many a camping trip. We used to do a friend of ours called it uh didding, drinking in tents or drinking with tents, I guess. We would just, go out into the wilderness, bring lots of beers and stuff like that, and we would obviously just, hang out during the day, play games, and then at night play some games and drink some more. But at night we'd have like 20-player werewolf games, and sure they would go on a long time, and people could be knocked out first round, first 5 minutes. But it was hysterical to watch the game develop. Just sit there, keep slamming them back, and just hanging out. So, Werewolf would be my number one game for playing outdoors.
That's fantastic. For some reason, and I can't exactly say why, I've always played Bonanza when I've been
Great pick.
outside. It's one of my favorite card games. It was easy to bring, it was easy to teach. And of course, it has to not be a windy day. I've certainly brought Hive
Sure.
just in case there's wind because it plays so well on picnic tables and things.
Very cool. All right. So right now, Ignacy has just created a thread on Board Game Geek. Thank you, Ignacy. I saw you do that. And please go over to the guild on Board Game Geek and find our play testing thread for this question and post your answer. Maybe we'll talk about it next week. In the meantime, the final scoring. Thank you so much for listening and help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcast, or watch Board Games Insider on the Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel. Do you want to be part of this podcast? You can. Just go to our guild on Board Game Geek and first become a member of the guild. Then ask us questions for our strategy and tactics segment. We only have a page left, so like 25 questions. We'll get to it soon. And answer our question to you from the play testing segment. And do simply post it in the correct thread. It's easy. I promise. You can do it. And you can interact with all of us on social media. Amazingly, the handle is virtually the same on all platforms. So now it's Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky. Just got onto Blue Sky. Everyone's doing it. And YouTube. So go to at Board Games Insider, at Portal Games US, at Podfather Gaming, at Dice Tower Dish, at Play to See Games, at Above Board TV, and at Nerd About Show. Follow us on the social media platform of your choice or all of them, whatever you'd like to do. And a call out specifically to the YouTube channels. Those are the ones we most give love to here. And that's Portal Games Studio, the Podfather of Gaming, and Above Board TV. We'd love to see you in person at an upcoming convention. So hopefully we'll see some of you at PAX Unplugged the first week in December. Board Games Insider was professionally edited by Jake Thompson. Thank you, Jake, for being part of the team. And also that great voice you hear doing the intro, the outro, and in between segments is that of Ray Greenlee. He can be contacted to do your voiceover work at raygreenleevoiceover.com. Gentlemen, that brings us to the end, a very sad end of another episode. Anything you would like to bring to the attention of our wonderful, supportive listeners?
The question that we answered reminded me that Portal Games Digital released Imperial Miners app, and I forgot about this in the
You
beginning
did.
of the show. So we can close the show with the information that, hey, by the way, we released the app. So you can go to iOS devices, to Android devices, and for the first time in the history, Portal Games Digital is doing the PC version. So if you want to play at work,
Oh,
not doing
nice.
your work, but playing on your PC, you can also play Imperial Miner. So let's infuse some cash to Portal Games, and let's play amazing, amazing game. This is my
Perfect.
message.
Yeah. So, and it's very true and very funny that right before the show started, before I recorded, Paula came over, started waving at me, and she says, "Gotta tell Ignacy that she's loving the Imperial Miners app." So,
Thank you.
and she's a big fan of apps, and she only plays the one she really likes. So it's a good one, according to Paula. I
Oh,
bet
it's a
it's
beautiful
tremendous.
app.
Oh, there you go. And Corey's got it too. I have
Oh,
yet
yeah.
to download it. I better do it before all the cool kids have, start talking
It's
about
too late.
it. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Thank you.
See you later, everyone.